As we move on to our next lab, I assume we're already came through this through Blackboard, and just moving on to the next lab here. You want to make sure you always come through Blackboard to get to your labs. So we're looking at 413 arrays output values below it and amount. So you're going to write a program that first reads a list of 5 integers from input, then reads another value from input, and outputs all the integers less than or equal to the last value. So here's the input you're going to use, and you're going to put that here to test that. And this is the expected output. That works. You'll submit it to get your 10 points. For coding simplicity, follow every output value by a space, okay? Output values, including the last one. Then output a new line. Such functionality is common on sites like Amazon where a user can filter results, giving that example there. Okay, so let's put in the code for this. So I have an integer called I, an integer j. I have an array size 5, called user values, and an integer defined as the upper threshold. So I have I is equal to 0. I is less than or equal to the user value size that you have here. And then I is going to be equal to I plus 1. So I'm going to step through the array there and do that loop. And the user value array will get the next input and puts that into the new array entry until I've gone through the complete array number of entries. And in this case, I have the array set to 5. The upper threshold is equal to get next input. So what happens is, this is again continue to loop until I have gone through the array size there. That's where it showed here, right? It says a list of 5 integers from input. Then you're going to read another input after the fact there, right? Now put all the integers less than or equal to the last value. So I now have the upper threshold set to the next input. So now I have for j equals 0. J is less than the array size. J is going to be j plus 1. And once again, proper indentation as you see here on these 4. And this is an embedded if within the for loop. So I have a if within the for loop, and so that gets embedded as well, indented. So if the user value of that array entry is less than the upper threshold or equal to, then I'm going to put that array entry to output. I'm going to put a space in there, and I'm going to continue this loop until this is no longer a true statement. In this case, if it's not true, it's going to then go to a new line there. And that basically, if you look at what we had to do, output by space, including the last one, then output a new line. And that's basically what we're doing here. So now let's take our input and put that in here in our code. And I'm going to leave it at medium speed to watch this one here. And execute. And then let's run this. Let's see what happens. So you notice how it's incrementing in the array there. Each entry is putting those values in, as you see over here in the variables. And now it's coming up on that upper threshold one. It's getting that. Now it's going in for this second for loop and doing this if check statement. And notice how J is incrementing now, and we're going to do that until we hit the limit on J. And so here's what we get. So there was the input. Here is our output, right? And just as expected, we see here, and there went to that new line. And so now I can submit this for grading. Make sure I do that to get my points. And if you did it correctly by going through Blackboard, should sync up into the grade book. And there is my 10 points. Once again, follow the sample if you're having any trouble that I provided.